Hey there, everyone. I want to welcome you to another opportunity to listen to The Stretch, and I want to thank you already in advance for what we're about to discuss today. We've been doing a slight series on protecting our children. Today, we're going to be talking briefly, and I do mean briefly, about having a social media addiction. Let's get started here on The Stretch. There's so much going on in the world with our young people today. We want to be praying for them and keeping them close to our hearts and understanding that they need to be heard. And we as parents, family, we want to be there for them during these times. So let's get ready. I'm excited about us having our discussion today about social media addiction with young people. All right? Okay. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, but there's just an amazing amount of things happening when it comes down to social media. I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes it's difficult to remove ourselves from our phones, from our tablets, from our laptops. Probably because we put so much of our information right there available to us, accessible. Everybody wants easy access. Well, that's what we have. Easy access to whatever we need when it comes down to social media, when it comes down to online banking or online information or just being able to access it. But the real question today is, how does that affect our teenagers? Do you have a teenager at home? Well, today I want to share some helpful strategies. And of course, I always put this disclaimer out there. I don't know it all, but I do have 33 years of experience with two that can validate that they have been parented, if you will. Was I successful in this particular area? I don't know. I think it rolls over into our adulthood. So I really don't know how my children are managing their time with social media, but let's just say they kind of walked away during the time it wasn't as heavy as it is today. So today I just want to share a few helpful strategies to monitor our teens' social media use while respectfully, understanding that they have privacy, but we want to also foster trust. So number one would be open and honest communication. Talk to your teen about the benefits and risk of social media. The benefits and risk of social media, they really do start young. Even though we're talking about our teens, our children really start young. So open and honest communication, if you can catch them while they're young to have these conversations, it'll be great before they become teenagers, where you can talk about the benefits and the risk of social media. So number one, of course, is open and honest communication, but also talking to your teen about the benefits and the risk involved. Yes, the risk involved in them understanding why it's important that you have open and honest communication, encouraging them to share their online experiences and concerns. Let them know that you're monitoring to ensure their safety, not to invade their privacy, but that, you are a concerned parent. And I think it's important that our children or our kids or our teenagers, or some of you may call them young adults, it's important to let them know that we care and we're concerned about their well-being. So social media addiction is real out there. So one, open, honest communication. Number two, set clear rules and boundaries. Establish screen time limits and guidelines on when and where social media can be used. You might say, how teenage are we talking about here, Latanya? Well, if you start young, I would say as young as 12 years of age. If you need to do it sooner, I would recommend do it as soon as possible, but establish that in your home. That screen time limits and guidelines on when and where social media can be used. Also agree on appropriate content to share, whom they can share and interact, that contact information, or not contact, but content information that they want to share with someone. Also encourage tech-free zones, like no phones during the meals or no phones during bedtime. I do recall that. I used to be pretty adamant about that. There's no cell phones during dinner time. Number three, I would definitely say that using parental controls or tools to say, hey, I'm not trying to show you I don't trust you, but I do need you to understand that there's a time and place to use your phone. So utilize a built-in parental control. Sometimes you may not be able to tell your kids that's what you're doing, but some parental controls on their devices. I mean, if you're the parent that's paying the bill, I don't see what the problem is. But, utilizing built-in parental controls on devices and apps like Google Family Link, Apple Screen Time, or one called Bark to monitor activity. And I think that's your right as a parent. Setting restrictions on downloads and access to certain websites. Regularly reviewing privacy settings on apps and platforms. There was a time where I would just walk through my home and I would collect the phones. Yes, I would, because I needed to protect my children. Not that I didn't trust them, but I knew they were not at an age of accountability to understand all of the answers to why. Number four, follow or friend them. Not spy on them, just follow and friend them. Connect with your teen on social media platforms to stay aware of their activity. Avoid excessive use, commenting, or interfering to, maintain their sense of independence, of course, and encourage them to add only people they know in real life, because you definitely don't want them talking to a stranger. I mean, right? We don't want our kids talking to strangers. Not now, not ever, because God only knows if they're talking with a predator or someone that is trying to bring harm to them. Number five, educate them about online safety. Teach them about privacy settings. Avoid oversharing and recognizing scams. These might be some great tools for us as well as parents. Discuss the risk of cyberbullying and how to handle online negativity. Let them realize everything their eyes don't necessarily need to see. Remind them that anything shared online can be and possibly will be considered permanent. And I think that a lot of young people don't know that. You want to regularly check in. This is number six. Regularly check in without being overbearing, but ask casual questions about their online experiences. See anything interesting today? That might be a great question. Keep an eye out for changes in their mood. All of a sudden now they don't want to show you something, or they don't want to have a conversation with you, or they kind of standoffish. That's important that we, help our children, because a lot of times they're looking for likes and responses and affirmation and self-esteem, and hoping and praying that somebody is acknowledging them and what they're doing. And we want them to understand that there's a greater confidence that is within, that they don't have to utilize social media to find acceptance, finding themselves constantly tapping away on their phones. So, because this really can lead to an addiction. So we want to encourage them to talk to us. And if they ever feel uncomfortable online about something, we want to know as parents, We want to know. As a parent, do you want to know? Sometimes there's some things we don't want to know. But I kid you not, it's very important that we know who is my child, my son, my daughter connecting with. Who are they communicating with? Is it someone that is helping lead them by example, which is where we come into play as parents to avoid social media addiction of any kind. And this is very brief today. Lead by example. Mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandmother, grandfather. Model healthy social media habits by limiting your own screen time. If they constantly see you on the phone, why in the world would they think that they need to come off the phone? Show responsible online behavior in front of them, such as avoiding oversharing and handling disagreements respectfully. This is us taking accountability for our actions so we don't tell them to do something we are not willing to do ourselves. Create a balance between online and offline activities for the entire family. So, of course, leading by example is going to lead to a much peaceful life for you, your family, and most importantly, for your team. We don't want them to run into problems, and we want to create trust, education, and monitoring tools that can help them navigate social media safely while also fostering independence and trust, because we want them to know that we trust them and that social media isn't always harmful, but it can be if it's being abused, neglected, and also to us not paying close enough attention to how it can become in long term an addiction. So this is your host, Latanya Worsham, here on The Stretch, helping you take it to the max and maximize your vision, value, and voice for a greater impact. Take care and always remember to take it to the max. Bye-bye.